AGM members, and welcome back to the Fairway to Retail Success. I'm your host, Justine Gray, the AGM's Director of Membership and Education. Today, I'm honored to welcome a true trailblazer in golf retail, Caroline Basarab. With an incredible career spanning decades, Caroline has set the standard for excellence in merchandising. She was named the 1989 Texas MVP Reese Berry Award winner and has earned 21 consecutive AGM Platinum Awards. And she was a top 10 Best of the Best winner in 2019 for those awards. She made history as the first woman to be named the National PGA Resort Merchandiser of the Year in 2009, an honor she won again in 2021, becoming the first woman to receive the award twice in two different PGA sections, which is incredible. And most recently, she was recognized as the 2024 59 Club Individual Retailer of the Year. Caroline currently leads the retail operations at Reynolds Lake Oconee in Greensboro, Georgia, where she continues to drive innovation, elevate customer experiences, and mentor the next generation of retail professionals. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us today.
And thank you as well, Justine, to allow me this opportunity. I've been an AGM member, oh my gosh, close to almost its infancy. And Design Blaney has been actually a very big mentor of all the retail managers and buyers, gosh, back in the day. I love the AGM and I really love the leadership and the programs that y'all are doing now.
Thank you. So, we'd love to start out talking a little bit about your journey in golf retail. How did you get started and what led you to your current role?
Gosh, I don't think I have enough time. But I started playing golf at 13. I'm from Houston, Texas, and after 4 years, I ended up getting a full ride at Texas A&M playing college golf. After that, I didn't want to pursue going on the tour, so I got involved in my internship at the TPC Las Colinas in Dallas, Texas, where they had the Byron Nelson PGA Tour event. Through there, I took a chance and I moved out to Pinehurst without a job. And I got a job working with Pine Needles Resort with Peggy Kirk Bell in teaching golf schools and doing retail, and worked part-time at Pinehurst Resort, working as a shop attendant, where I really learned a lot about, through Roger Morgan, who was the director of retail, a lot about retail in a higher scale and regarding volume and resort and restocking and a lot of those things that I learned from there as a shop attendant that now I can carry through my current position. From there, got a golf professional position back in Houston, Texas again, and then I got a job with the Woodlands, TPC Woodlands, for the Shelly Houston Open. Wow. And then Harbortown Golf Links recruited me from there in 1998, and I was there for 17 years, and I did the RBC Heritage, and it's been, I love Harbortown. I love living in Hilton Head, but it was time after 17 years to make a change. And now I'm here at Reynolds Lake Oconee as their director of retail. I'm also a golf professional, which kind of skipped through a lot of that, but yes, I'm one as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. So one thing with your shop and your approach to merchandising your shop space, what is your approach when it comes to balancing those essential items that, you need to have year round that are really important to keep in stock with more fashion-driven pieces, especially now more than ever, we're seeing the influence of lifestyle and up and coming brands and all those emerging things in the market. How do you determine what that correct mix is for your shop?
I feel like with every merchandiser, golf professional buyer, you really should know your basics. And I could go into details, but your golf balls and your medals and a lot of your headwear and those things. When you want to balance the new trends, I think the hardest part is there is so many different things in different territories that may apply, let's just say on the West Coast, that may not resonate here on
Mhm.
the East Coast. I know that social media is a big thing. I understand that I also have to see what my members are wearing, what our guests are wearing. We're a very
Mm.
conservative market. So we like our stripes and subtle patterns. So going to the PGA show or getting on social media, you have to see and pick and choose which brands are going to work for you. And so I will dabble with some things. One of the things that I am starting to do, which sounds crazy because a lot of people have already been doing this, but it is so important. If you're not
That's
part of the
okay.
social media trend, that is something that you should invest in. It is more prevalent than anything now. A lot of our customers and golfers are more educated than they are before. So
Right.
taking a picture of a display that could be vendor X that's in your shop right now and promoting lifestyle is a big new trend right now. How do your members know about lifestyle when it's known as a golf shop? That's where you're going to have to work with your marketing department or work with a social media guru and your staff to get the word out. When you talk about balancing, yes, you have that basic component, which I just mentioned, but I think you have to also think, okay, if I'm going to bring these new things in, how am I going to promote that to and educate my members? And then the biggest thing is how do you showcase it? How do you showcase it in your shop that isn't lost because you don't want to make that much of an
Mm.
investment?
Mm.
And so that's where I feel staff training. Again, I keep repeating myself because I think it's an importance of the social media, email blasts to your members or guests can get the word out.
Mhm. Yes, and I like how you mentioned how consumers are so informed now with social media. They have so much at their fingertips that they wouldn't have had 5 or 10 years ago. So they're really empowered and savvy on those brands and things. That's powerful. So when it comes to evaluating sales per square foot, I know that's an important metric for you at your facility. What strategies have really helped you maximize revenue using what sort of real estate, so to speak, that you have in your golf shop? So using that space that you have to work with.
Great question. One of the things that we have 6 golf shops here at Reynolds,
Wow.
and our shops are anywhere from 700 square feet to 1,400. So we definitely have to maximize every square foot that we have. One of the things that I have learned through tour events is we would have 3 or 4 tents, and in that tour event, there'd be one t-shirt that sold well on hole number 17, but on hole 15, it didn't sell very well. So you really do need to maximize, okay, why is this not selling? Let's move it to a place where it does sell.
Mhm.
So going back into those theories and methods that I learned through tour events for 25 years, that's what I've applied to our golf shops. So one of the things that I focus on is what is going to maximize that per square foot. So let's just say I have a brand X is not selling. I don't know why. So I will talk to the golf professionals at that property and I'll go, you know what, this is not selling. Do you want me to replace it with another group? And either that, the group that's not selling, I can move it to another shop. I can go ahead and get it ready for a Christmas sale or some kind of seasonal sale. And what that does is it maximizes every square foot with the best selling product. And so my turns in the shops are about 2.5. There's times it could be just a little bit more. And it's because I'm maximizing in these small shops what is selling and taking out things that are not selling to take advantage of that small square footage.
Mhm. And with the multiple shops across your property, is it a shared inventory or are you able to move merchandise between those shops? What is that kind of relationship? How does that function?
Another good question.
Mhm.
Okay, we do have a centralized receiving, and
Okay.
then when we receive it, we will receive that product to each shop, and then each shop has its own inventory. Let's again, I don't like really mentioning vendors, but let's say I have brand vendor X is in shop number one and shop
Mhm.
number two. I can share that merchandise through transfers if things are selling better
Mm.
than another shop. What that can do is it maximizes again that square footage,
Mhm.
moving that product to a place that can sell more. But then again, it opens a pocket for me to bring another brand in to that shop that I took the merchandise out of. Yes, it's kind of like one inventory. We've got
Okay.
five of those shops that have the same logo and one does not. I don't do really course specific because I want to be able to do those transfers,
Sure.
except for like towels, headwear, medals, golf balls.
Got it. That's interesting. I know that's a question we get sometimes from folks who have more than one shop location on their property who are exploring what works well for transferring merchandise between their shops. That's certainly helpful. Leadership development seems to be a big priority at Reynolds Lake Oconee. How have you used programs such as, I know you have a program called Momentum to help out your team? How has that functioned?
Reynolds, our personnel department, hired an individual that focuses on nothing but employee and manager programs. And that being said, orientation and going through a 2 day orientation process where they get to go visit our property and they understand our culture and our vision. That can go into different levels of growing on the more they're there. If you're a manager, they have programs that it sounds crazy, but yes, if you're able to go to college or you do have certain companies that may not have the time or the resources to do manager 101 training.
Mm, mhm.
And they teach you how to communicate to employees and customers and understand customer service. And momentum is one of them where it's amazing because you're in a group with five other managers in different departments and you talk about there's six topics and you really start focusing as you as a manager. And as a manager, how are you presenting yourself to your employees? Are you thinking things through on the communication? How can you become a better manager? And there's so many different facets where it's deep, where you have to really look into yourself and go, okay, am I really doing these things? How can I do things better? And then while talking to the group, you'll hear different ideas from the other managers in different departments that, gosh, you're like, I didn't think about that. Or maybe I should implement this. And there are more programs that he keeps adding for us as managers to grow. I signed up for a public speaking one. And public speaking, I have come a long way, but if there's anything I can do to improve it, I want to. So I signed up for that in September. There's other programs that we have, which is called Momentum Training, where you can be a coach in your department. And you go through the training, and what you do is you go to your department, and if it's 10 restaurants, for me, it's six golf shops, and you talk about a lot of our core values, and you talk about the areas of customer service and how can we work with our new employees that we can train them on a one-to-one basis. Maybe there's areas that for a young golf professional to manage a staff that we can coach that person to be a stronger manager. Maybe it's due to a lack of experience. A lot of our golf professionals are 21, 22.
So within the golf shop environment, and I think what you talked about, the interdepartmental piece, that sounds really valuable that
Mm.
folks have the opportunity to learn from and interact folks outside of their department. But within the golf shop with your team, what's a piece of advice you might give to a director of retail or golf shop manager who are looking to really elevate their staff training among their team and customer service as well?
Planning plan. And I think one of the things, and it doesn't always have to be the start of the year.
Mhm.
It could be something where you sit down in a quiet place, go to Starbucks, grab your computer, and just write down your goals of what you want to accomplish. I've always heard this that you can't just have if you're going to a destination, you have to have an idea how you're going to get there. Okay. It's the same thing to you start off with your goals and then you go backwards and go, okay, what are the things that I want to accomplish to get here? The roadmap. I think the hardest thing out of it all is the implementation and finding time, and it's a commitment. And the hardest part is how do you want to launch this? And also, not only to launch it, but how do you follow up and hold them accountable? And it's not just a one time thing where you go in and you provide the documentation and the training, and then, okay, we're done for the
Mhm.
next year or 3 months. It's going to be depending on the size of your operation and the amount of your training. It may be a daily process if you have that, or it may start where, in my situation with 6 golf shops, do I start to our lead assistant and I spend time with each lead assistant, and spending time with their staffs, visual merchandising and teaching customer service. That would be a couple times a month.
Mhm.
So the biggest part is the roadmap, but you have to find the roadmap, you got to find what your goals are and know that it's going to take time. And one of the things is you don't want to do this and you're in the middle of in season and you get so frustrated because you don't have that time. You pick it
Mhm.
something out of season where you can really devote that time. And also getting the feedback. You have to be open to go, you know what, this just doesn't work. I don't get
Sure.
it. Or can you try this? Or maybe recruit a staff member, go, can you help me with this? And how can
Mhm.
we implement this together? Because I think empowerment is how the buy-in and getting more staff to understand that you are making a difference on what you're doing. And like we have surveys that tell us about our customer service and we learn from those things. I have to say, fortunately, our feedback is very good. And that obviously comes from a lot of the training that we talked about, the ongoing training with our personnel department.
Amazing. I really like those takeaways, especially with the planning, building a roadmap, maybe finding a quiet place to sit down and map out what the goals are for the year. And I think that's great to think about for sure. So I know that Masters Week is a really exciting time at your facility. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what strategies you've used to really maximize the excitement of that time period in the golf world?
It's our biggest week of the year. I know
Wow.
everyone has their member guests, but for
Right.
us, we're only an hour and 15 minutes. I call down the street. It's a straight shot on I-20 to get there. And we have a lot of folks that stay here and play golf. We'll have over 12,000 rounds that week with our 6 golf courses. And there's a couple things that we do maximize for this. I think the big thing is we have to front load all the merchandise before March 15th. It's hard because not only are we doing this, we're conducting our quarterly inventories at the same time. So we have to coordinate a lot of those things. So we have to not only be prepared for the receiving for this time, also conduct those inventories. And once they're posted, we have to go back out with all the new merchandise and merchandise the shops to get ready for that busy week. As we are talking about we're maximizing that opportunity with all the people. We've scheduled at least 7 trunk shows. And so they're excited. We've had our one golf shop, a Coney, which is right next to our Ritz property. It's a resort property, and very fortunately, they have a fork in the road, and one's going out to number one, and one's coming in from 18. So we have 2 vendors planned every day from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which are our busy days for the Masters Week. We are planning a few other things at some other golf courses, and our biggest event, which is upcoming, is a Saturday before Masters. It's called Reynolds Major Tee Off on April 5th. And it is it's a big party, I should say, that for our to shoot off Masters Week, where we have a beer and wine garden, we have food for the members, we've got demo days regarding our equipment vendors, shopping with some of our other vendors, our partners for clothing, accessories, shoes, and we'll have some things for kids, which is the bouncy houses, band. So that's how we launch off the week. And then the recovery is we're still in the season. So you got to get through that week, and then you got to go back in and start all over again, replenishing our shops.
That's amazing. Thank you. I think it's really fun to think about of local events, even if it's something that's an hour away from your facility that's going on in your community, can be a big draw to people in the area. So it's a great one, especially for the folks who are golf enthusiasts. What advice would you give to other AGM merchandisers who are maybe getting started in their careers, who are really looking to elevate their shops, their retail operations, and stand out this year?
I would take advantage 150% to the AGM programs. I think they've done an outstanding job with the webinars that, again, I've been in the business for over 30 years that we didn't have these opportunities. The bulletin boards, the programs where y'all can interact with each other when it comes to networking and creating those relationships where you can find some common ground if there is a challenge, or hey, I've got a great idea. So I think the big thing is to get involved with those programs and get involved with talking with the AGM. They may be able to, let's say, for the example, if I want to know some other fellow buyers in Georgia, I can look on the roster and reach out to them, or I obviously can call the AGM and say, hey, I'm looking for a few buyers that can help me with a question about something, and y'all can actually really direct you to those things. Other things you can do is read, see what's in PGA Magazine, see what's out in the social media. LinkedIn, there's a lot of buyers and golf professionals that are displaying their displays and are putting out their displays and just showing their different ideas of what they're doing in their shop or different programs. That would be my advice is just knowledge is power.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. There's so much out there these days, so much reading, and I always even still like to read some things that are more mainstream retail as well, a mix of golf industry stuff and then some things outside of our industry for other perspectives too sometimes. Looking ahead, what's next for retail at Reynolds Lake Oconee? Are there any upcoming trends or vendors or initiatives you're perhaps implementing that you're excited to explore at your facility?
Honestly, I really feel like one of the biggest things is I really want to start tapping in to social media a lot more than I have been. I feel, again, we talked about it earlier, the impact of how people are staying more informed. They want to know the trends. They also want to know what's in their backyard, which is in our golf shops.
Mhm.
And so that would be one of the things I'd like to do is just educate our members and our guests about the product we're carrying. And doing some really fun, innovative things in the shop. Maybe it can, I know that I've expanded my staff And so at this time, I'm going, okay, what is some kind of fun event that I can do? And like, I want to try and do something where on Family Golf Month that, even though it's not retail related, where you can hit shots over the water on a circle, on the green, and if it's over the water, if you miss it, it's like it's fish food. So you're not really hitting golf balls in the water, but it's like how close you can get to this circle over the water is how you get the points. And it's something fun. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it's something that I want to try and do some different things and be innovative and be different. And yes, I want to try to do more lifestyle. And I think the big thing in doing different lifestyle in different markets is, again, the education, getting the word out. I think the hardest thing for a lot of us is that non-golfers think the golf shop is only for golf.
Mm,
That is the biggest obstacle I have. And I'm not sure how to approach that to really invest in that lifestyle market, because we do have a marina store, we do have a spa and fitness and a lot of those things that do carry that. But that's my challenge, is like, how can I grow a new market
mm,
and how do I educate my customers to know that there's other things out there?
right. Yeah, that's something to consider. And I know we've gotten that question from our members in general in the past year or so, is getting those social members or the non-golfing members into the shop. So hopefully that's a trend we continue to see, that maybe we start to get those folks in the door and see what there is to offer beyond just golf equipment.
I know that in the past, when I worked at Sea Pines Resort in Hilton Head, we were very fortunate that we had a walkway that went right past the pro shop. And so what I did is I had a nesting table and I had a lot of the beach cover-ups and the fun beach bags and a lot of those t-shirts for women and all these other fun styles of clothing. And they were like, oh, they didn't even know it was a golf shop. They just went in and started shopping.
Mm,
My best recommendation is, if there's an opportunity where you have a traffic area that can appeal to your non-golfer, try that. I can promise you, you will get people coming in and just and have that education that they know that there are other things than just golf apparel.
absolutely. I love that approach for sure. All right. I think that about wraps up for today. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Oh
This
my
was
gosh,
such
thank
a
you.
pleasure. Thank you. It was such a pleasure to learn a little bit about your background and about your shop and some of your initiatives from a true trailblazer in golf. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invitation, and I look forward to watching more of these podcasts. And again, that maybe that's something you can teach an old dog new tricks too. So I'm very excited about seeing more of these.
Wonderful. And thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of the Fairway to Retail Success. Thanks so much for being here, and we look forward to seeing you again soon in our next episode.